1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang bang, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang bang, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How are you guys doing? I hope your week has been fantastic, if not phenomenal. If not phenomenal. My week has been smooth. I'd say it's been pretty smooth. You know, work's been pretty chill for the most part. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but work's been pretty chill. Week's been pretty decent. This is episode 118, ladies and gentlemen. We've made it. We made it to 118. What does that mean? It means we fucking made it to 118. We're here. It's episode 118. It's vibey in here. We got lights on in the background. It's vibey in here. I got my Gohan rash guard on. It's vibey in here. This is episode 118. And unfortunately, calling this bad boy No Innocence. Gonna touch on that later. Or actually, I'll tell you young whippersnappers right now why, but I'm gonna talk about that later. It's not what we're starting with, ladies and gentlemen. We're not starting with this topic, but it's called No Innocence, because as I touched on last week, I predicted that we already knew what was going to happen in the Kyle Rittonhouse case. We already knew. I predicted that. And with a verdict of not guilty on all charges, I felt it was appropriate to name this episode No Innocence. No Innocence. It's how I feel. It's how I feel. You know how I feel about some of the fights this past weekend at UFC Vegas 43? It's funny because I was listening to Luke Thomas and his he did his live chat. I mean, I wasn't watching it live, but I was watching him talk about these fights, his reaction to these fights. And he mentioned about, well, just in reference to the UFC Vegas 43, but it's UFC Vegas 43, which is like the 43rd event at the Apex. The 43rd event at the Apex in Vegas since the pandemic started. Why am I talking like this? Since the pandemic. And I did have one glass of eggnog. But since the pandemic, you know, it's the 43rd event at the Apex in Vegas since the pandemic, but it's actually like Fight Night 178 or some shit. I don't even know at this point. Nobody really calls it that. I don't even know what the event actually is. So it's like we're calling it Vegas 43, but that's like not, that should have never been a thing. If there was no pandemic, that we wouldn't be calling this UFC Vegas 43. I just thought that was pretty interesting that he caught that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what is the actual thing? Like, because I'm not in that Twitter. I be tweeting in the Vegas 40 blah, blah, blah at this point. You know, we in 43, so I'll be in 2 weeks when Jose Aldo is fighting Rob Font, I will be tweeting in UFC Vegas 44 hashtag. But I'm curious, what is the actual show called? What's the actual number? I believe it is even that. If I look on Google, it still pops up as UFC Vegas. That's pretty interesting. But what I'm saying here, like what I said last week, ladies and gentlemen, a little callback there. What I said last week, what I felt was the people's main event, Shout out to Ariel Helwani. What I felt was the people's main event was Michael Chiesa versus Sean Brady. Now, I was at work, didn't see that fight live, you know. I did not see that fight live. But as you guys heard from me last week, I picked Michael Chiesa to win this fight. So I'm at work and I check my phone and I see that Michael Chiesa lost via unanimous decision to Sean Brady. So I'm like, all right. I write in my notes, where does Michael Chiesa go from here? That's what I write. Sorry about these coughs. I don't even know why that is. Having these. Well, I smoke. It's like I don't know why I'm coughing. It's like, nigga, you just smoked before. I just smoked before recording this. Maybe 2 or 3 times. So I saw that he lost, you know, so I wrote in my notes, where does Michael Chiesa go from here? You know, where does Michael Chiesa go from here is what I wrote in my notes without seeing the fight. Then I got home and I watched the fight, ladies and gentlemen. I watched the fight. And I scored the fight, and it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? The score means nothing. Other than to me right now, we're having this conversation. I scored the fight. I don't score it via, like, points. I just score who won that round, who won that. Unless it's, like, crazy dominant. If it's crazy dominant, then I might be like, yo, that's clearly a 10-8. You know what I'm saying? But that's the only time I'll feel like I need to score it. If I feel like it should be a little more than just, yo, that nigga won that round. That nigga dominated that round. It's a 10-8. So I'm watching this fight, first round. I'm seeing Sean Brady get takedowns. I think he got like 2 takedowns in the first round. But otherwise, Michael Chiesa's hands are looking sharp. He's catching Sean Brady with some combinations. He's looking sharp. He breaks Sean Brady's nose in the first round. There were 2 eye pokes that Dean Thomas later on brings up. They bring in Dean Thomas in the start of the third round on commentary, and Dean Thomas. I say Den because it's pronounced D-I-N. So whenever I see it, I'm like, yo, it's not Dean Thomas, it's Den Thomas. But that's just me being ignorant, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say Den Thomas. But anywho, he says that when those eye pokes happen, they happen like 2 eye pokes within like the first first minute of the fight. There was 2 eye pokes, and from Michael Chiesa, there were incidental eye pokes. Like the second eye poke, I believe it was the second one. Sean Brady like punched, and when he punched, his hand hit Michael Chiesa's hand, like because they showed it in the replay, and his hand. And his punch, like where he punched Michael Chiesa, forced his hand open and then caused the eye poke. His punch caused his hand to open and caused the eye poke. So there was no point taken. But when they brought in Dean Thomas to on the commentary to talk about the fight at the start of the third round, he said that ever since those 2 eye pokes happened, Michael Chiesa has been fighting different. He says before those eye pokes, a lot of fighters, I think Conor does it they like to reach out and grab the person's hand or their wrist. Like when they're gauging distance, they'll reach out and grab a person. So he was doing that. That helps them keep the person off them. But, you know, they can also do all kinds of other shit with them. But the reaching out and grabbing his hand was a part of Chiesa's game plan to start the fight. But then within the first minute, those 2 eye pokes happened, he gets a stern warning. And then he said that from that point on, Chiesa went away from trying to grab the hand, and it like completely changed the way he was fighting. So it probably like completely fucked up his game plan to have those eye pokes. So what I'll say is that with Chiesa dominating in the stand-up, I would say breaking Sean Brady's nose, doing the most damage, even with the 2 takedowns, like, you got to do damage with that. You have to do something with the takedowns. If not, then that first round for me, I scored it for Chiesa. Second round, I scored it for Sean Brady. Third round, I 1,000% scored for Chiesa, who's just lighting Sean Brady up in the stand-up. Lighting this boy up. And he kept fucking himself up throughout this fight. Chiesa kept putting himself in bad positions. He would get into this momentum with the strikes with his hands, and then all of a sudden he would just go for a knee. And then once he came in with that knee, Sean Brady would grab a hold of him and take him down, or at least get into some clinch, some kind of grappling exchange. And that was exactly what he didn't want, because when he just stood and traded with Sean Brady, he was lighting that boy up. All right? He was lighting that boy up. I saw, when I was watching Luke Thomas talking about it, he was like, maybe title aspirations for Chiesa. I think he was saying, like, or might even be like, need to be rethought. I'll say like that. And I don't even think that that's the case. I scored this fight for Chiesa. And even regardless of that, even with, let's say I scored the fight for Brady, I still feel like there were a lot of positives. I feel like I got way more positives from Chiesa than I do feeling that Sean Brady is going to look any kind of composed. He was gassed out at the end of that fight and almost got finished. All right? He was completely gassed out at the third round. He was getting lit up with strikes. Chiesa took him down, took full mount, and is just lighting this man up with strikes in the ground and pound. If there was fucking 5 to 10 more seconds of that fight, the referee would have had to have jumped in and stopped the fight. Chiesa was this close from finishing that fight. He was about to finish that fight. He's the only person that got close to finishing that fight when Sean Brady took Chiesa down. Unless I'm crazy here, unless I'm just forgetting these real pivotal moments. Jesus, why am I talking this way? Unless I'm forgetting these pivotal moments, I don't recall Brady getting any deep submissions where it's like, oh shit, he's about to finish this. I don't remember him rocking Chiesa to the point where it's like, oh shit, Chiesa better shoot. Like, I don't remember any of that ever happening. All I remember is him like taking him down and then like controlling him, throwing like these little pitter-patter punches, but like Chiesa's grappling is good. So like he was taking some damage, you know what I'm saying, but not a lot of damage. Like, and now you're going to tell me that Sean Brady somehow won that fight with doing way less damage in that fight. He won that fight somehow. And it's potentially going to be, Chiesa was ranked 6. We had number 14 just beat number 6. And I don't feel like Sean Brady is good enough to he's not good enough right now. All right. What is he going to do against Vicente Luque? He's not good enough to go 5 rounds with Vicente Luque. As I'm telling you right now, all Chiesa needed was 5 to 10 more seconds in that last round. Sean Brady was completely gassed out, he was mounted, getting ground and pound. Only reason the ref didn't stop is because there's a few seconds left in the fight, so he let it go. But if there was fucking 20 seconds left on the clock As that ground and pound started, he would have had no choice but to stop. He wasn't defending himself. He was completely gassed out. You're going to put him in there against Vicente Luque, Hamza Chimaev, Kamaru Usman, Kobe Covington? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Like, at what point does he make that leap? Unless his next fight is a rematch, 5 rounds against Michael Chiesa, who do you guys feel like he matches up with well in the top 5? If we're putting Sean Brady in the top 5, if you guys just saw that fight and you feel like Sean Brady is ready for the fucking top 5, you're out of your mind. You're out of your fucking mind. Chiesa was number 6, all right? You know who's behind Chiesa? Who's right behind Michael Chiesa? Jorge Masvidal. I think I don't know, man. Honestly, I think the wrestling would be too much. It would possibly be too much for Jorge. Jorge's a really good grappler. I don't know. I don't know. He wasn't able to do anything against Usman in the first fight when he was up against, but it was, that's neither here nor there. Michael Chiesa 6, or he's 6 right now. It's going to be changed, and we're possibly going to have Sean Brady at number 6. Number 5, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Number 4, Vicente Luque. Number 3, Leon Edwards. You think Sean Brady's beating Leon Edwards right now in a 5-round fight? You're not, at this point, if you're going to be 6, he's talking about, like, I want one of these main events everybody's getting. I want one of these main events everybody's getting. You almost died in there. All right? 5 to 10 more seconds left in that 3rd round. Chiesa wins that fight. His coaches kept telling him, dude, just keep going forward. He's tired. You got him and every time Chiesa would come forward with these hands, he would find success and be just lighting this dude up. He had no idea what was going on with them hands. And then Chiesa would get overzealous and fucking throw a fucking knee. Number 2, Gilbert Burns. I would love to see Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. You telling me Sean Brady's ready for 5 rounds with Gilbert Burns? Is that what you're telling me right now? He's ready for 5 rounds with Kobe Covington? 5 rounds with Kamaru Usman? You're telling me you're going to put Sean Brady in the rankings above Hamzat Chimaev? That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. And that's what y'all are about to do. He didn't look that good to me. I think there's some much better strikers. You know what I'm saying? That's the best Chiesa's ever looked in his striking. Chiesa's never looked that good. He looked world class. He looked world class against Sean Brady. He's never looked that good. But against Sean Brady, Michael Chiesa looked like a fucking mastermind. He looked like Israel Adesanya out there. The hands were all over this man. To the point where, that's what I'm saying, Chiesa started, like, he had such success with his hands. He'd jump in with this knee. I feel like he was shocked, like, holy fuck, I'm fucking this dude up right now. That's how Chiesa was feeling. That's how I'm reflecting on it. It's how it seemed to me. Chiesa was like, bah, bah, hitting this nigga with uppercuts. He had no idea. You can watch that shit. Brady had no defense. He's just taking all these fucking hits. Bah, bah. For every punch. He's just taking on a chin. Bah. It was fucking wild. And then Chiesa would fucking jump in with a knee because he's like, whoa, I'm fucking this nigga up right now. Holy fuck, I didn't know I was Canelo out here. I'm fucking this nigga up. That's how Chiesa felt when he's fighting someone with the striking acumen of a Sean Brady. Now, y'all are going to put him in the top 6 and put him in at 6, possibly. They're going to put this man at 6, put him in 5-round fights against who? I don't know who he fights next. But it's nothing but fucking sharks in these waters. You're here now. Calling for a main event. Main event here now. Main event here now. And I told you guys that was the people's main event. But we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the main event. But first, if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. And if you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and add me. My gamer tag is SauceBoss414. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Babylon5. And if you guys would be so kind and let these people know what it is, rep this podcast, go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. Go ahead and cop that Babylon 5 podcast merchandise. Let these people know what you're repping, what you're listening to these days, who you're rocking with. Just go ahead and cop that Babylon 5 merchandise. We got baby clothes. We got fucking baby clothes. Let them know what your baby was listening to in the womb. You know how people put the fucking headphones on the belly and play like classical music? I'm saying hypothetically, moms, future moms, soon to be moms, are putting this podcast on their bellies for their upcoming children. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. So they put the baby clothes, so when the baby clothes come out and be like, don't just be my Negro. You know what I'm saying? When these little white babies come out here, don't just be my Negro. Be my nigga. You know what I'm saying? We got to put these little babies in Babylon 5 podcast onesies. If those are up there. I don't know if they're onesies. They might just be t-shirts. But but whatever. Yeah, just go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod to be my patron. As I said, I brought down the tiers, but I would say right now, if you were thinking to be a patron and you were like, I'm hesitating, I would say jump on it and to be a patron now, while it's still $1, because I don't know, I'm just doing things, if you will. I'm doing things, so prices are going to increase pretty soon here for the Patreon. But I feel like if you jump in right now at the $1, you will be grandfathered in at $1. So, but after that, we will go to the new price, and it will be what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Will be what it is. But as I was saying to you guys, like, last week, foolishly, I said that, the UFC had about 3 to 4 weeks of great main events, and I said foolishly that it was going to end this weekend. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to the women. I was more so, I've just never been a fan of Miesha Tate, actually. I was very annoyed with her whole stance of, I'm going to send a message to Amanda Nunes and show her that I'm the real competition to her. I was like, you're probably about to lose this fight, is how I felt. You know what I'm saying? But it was just like, she dusted you off to get the belt and has only gotten better. And I hadn't seen that much of an improvement, you know what I'm saying, in that fight with Marion Renault. Actually, as I said, I didn't feel like she looked too good in that fight. So I didn't see too much of an improvement in that fight. She looked pretty good in this fight. It's probably the best Miesha Tate I've ever seen was in this fight with Ketlin Vieira. I was wrong in saying that we weren't going to get an amazing main event here. This main event was phenomenal. I was kind of pissed off because, like, there's a lot of hard punches that were getting off. Like, Ketlin was lighting this woman up early on. And I'm sitting there like, ooh, ooh. And, like, the crowd, the commentators are just, like, not even, like, reacting to it. And I'm like, dude, those were two men in there, and some dude was lighting another dude up like that. The way she's lighting her up right now, they be going crazy. I was like, why are they not reacting to this? She's lighting her up. Apparently, people were giving criticism to Daniel Cormier for trying to make the fight seem closer than it actually was. I would agree with that assessment because I couldn't understand. I was like, dude, why are they not reacting? She's lighting her up. But then when Miesha would come back, and Miesha had some good shots. Miesha did this fucking beautiful, like, front kick to, like, a 3-piece combo or some shit. It was really nice, dude. I was like, I've never seen this. I've never liked Miesha Tate in a fight. Usually when I've seen Miesha Tate fight, it's like Miesha Tate just gets beat up for 4.5 rounds, and then some magic happens if she's lucky, or she squeaks out the victory, or she just gets beat the fuck up too soon. She became the champion after choking out Holly Holm. Do y'all remember how the rest of that fight went? Not good for Miesha Tate. She's getting her fucking ass beat. Didn't go good for her. She looks pretty good in here, but Ketlin Vieira, see, the reasons I didn't like Miesha Tate calling out Amanda Nunes here is because, like, a lot of the reasons why Nunes is a problem for most of the people are present right here with Vieira. I think the only thing is that the confidence isn't there yet. The confidence in her abilities, but she's got great striking. She's got great technique. She's pretty good. She's really good. And she's very long. That's what I'm saying, that length. That's something that Amanda Nunes has on a lot of these ladies. So with that, I just didn't feel like, I felt like Vieira was going to present a lot of the same problems for Tate that Nunes would. And Vieira was clearly too much for Miesha Tate in this fight. She beat the fuck out of this woman. Beat the fuck out of her. And I would love to see Vieira versus Nunes at some point. I'm not sure when. I don't think, like, not the next fight for her. But soon. I think she'll, like, with 1 or 2 more victories, just, like, a few more improvements, little ups in the confidence, I feel like she could really oppose the challenge to Amanda Nunes, if not defeat her. I feel like that would be pretty cool. As for Miesha Tate, I'm not sure. You know, she just lost to the number 6. So, I don't know. She said she's only here for the belt and not just to take part. So, what is the next fight for her? Because she's saying her goal is just to get the belt and not to just fight fights. But I don't really see her getting to the championship. I mean, she's a big name, so we'll see. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. And unfortunately, like I said, you know, this episode is called No Innocence. Because, as I said, we all knew what would happen in the Kyle Rittonhouse trial with the Kyle Rittonhouse verdict. Kyle Rittonhouse, as I mentioned, was ruled not guilty on all charges. You know, it's interesting. I saw niggas, my wife was saying, people were saying to her about, what was it? This is why motherfuckers should not try to get out on jury duty. Because of shit like this, but like, I don't know. I ain't never been asked. Because I always said I ride for my motherfucking niggas. If I got the chance, that's why I always was like, yo, I wish they'd let me. I wish. I'm not finna let y'all just fucking convict a nigga like that. Y'all gotta prove to me beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt. Or we not locking this brother up. That's how I feel. But they ain't never asked me. They ain't never asked me. We would have locked that nigga up. You gotta prove to me beyond a reasonable doubt that this 17-year-old boy should have been in Kenosha with an assault rifle past curfew in a state that he does not live in. Yeah, proves to me why that makes sense. At all. At all. Before we say not guilty, I seen people trying to argue like he was fleeing. He was a 17-year-old like with an illegally carrying firearms in a state that he did not live in because he felt like he had to protect the target. They've already burned one target and Black Friday's coming. And he don't like to go to the other side of town, so he had to show up with an assault rifle, kill 2 people, and go home. Judge wouldn't even allow them to show the free as fuck shirt. So, you know, I called it last week, but when I heard it, it still hurt, you know? It still hurt. I really wanted to be wrong. I really, really did. But I wasn't. I said, I know what's going to happen here. This nigga's going to get off. And then you're going to start seeing this nigga on like CNN or some shit, Fox. I don't know which one. Is any of them niggas right or left? Or are they just the same? It's all the same. But he's going to be a pundit on there. Getting paid, bank. Talking shit about killing niggas. And he ain't kill no black people, though. He killed white people. I was like, yo, he killed white people. He's going to jail. They was like, nah, he good. He good. They was out there marching for niggas. They just as much niggas as the rest of them. That's how they felt. That's how they felt when Donald Trump played on your ringtone. You're just as much as niggas as the rest of them. That's how they felt. Yo, rest in peace. I think his name was Andrew Huber. One of the guys I've seen people share. It's crazy. It's setting a precedent. I don't like it. I don't like what this is saying. As a black person, not a black person. I'm not a black person. I'm a melanated brother, ladies and gentlemen. As a melanated brother, I don't like the precedent that it is setting here. Mick Foley said, I feel like this is telling young white men that they can kill someone and get away with it. That's what Mick Foley said. If you don't know Mick Foley is the reason why I always say right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. When I get hyped, I always do the right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because of Mick Foley. Shout out to Mick Foley, but that's his opinion. And if you don't want to take my opinion on it, that's Mick Foley's. That's fucking Mick Foley's opinion. That's mankind's. Dude love. Alright? Cactus Jack. As if that nigga did Cactus Jack have a personality other than he just was violent? And he had he didn't have a chainsaw. But he hung out with a nigga named Chainsaw Charlie. And he had a chainsaw. Cactus Jack had a barbed wired wrapped 2x4. That shit wild. I can't. That's why my mom didn't want us to watch that shit. Listen to what I'm saying to you. That shit sounds so wild. Nigga come out. Chainsaw Charlie come out with a fucking chainsaw. He had Jake the Snake Roberts. He come out with a fucking snake. I don't know. I was gonna make up some bullshit that was gonna sound real crazy, but I was like, I didn't know if it was be funny or fucking racist. So I was like, let's just not say it. And we already hating on niggas, so let's not do that. Let's not do that. And speaking of let's not do that, there's season 2 of Tiger King. Season 2 of Tiger King. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? There's season 2 of Tiger King, and they're highlighting just this white fandom of, I don't even know. It makes no sense to me. It all, honestly, the fandom of Joe Exotic makes no sense to me. I feel like, I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense to me, the fandom. It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like Joe Exotic ain't scored no touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? What'd he do? He wrote some bullshit-ass songs harassing this woman over here. He was obsessed with Carol Baskin, writing crazy-ass songs and then having somebody else sing the songs, and then he fucking lip-sync perform the songs and videos, and is in prison. And y'all are saying he was set up for the one charge, while just pretending as if he wasn't, there's not the animal cruelty charges where he was just killing tigers. He'd have too many tigers and he just shoot them in the head. This is all documented. And then you all, like, I've not seen black people, I've not seen anybody other than white people hype about this. I've seen people dress their kids up as this person, right? They dress their kids up as this person, right? But let me mention, like, a black hero who had scored many touchdowns, Many touchdowns. I don't even watch football. But this nigga scored many touchdowns. Joe Exotic ain't scored no touchdowns. He shot a lot of tigers in the fucking head. Y'all like tigers, right? He shot a lot of tigers in the fucking head. Michael Vick, on the other hand, has scored a lot of touchdowns. He shot some dogs in the head. Oh, y'all don't like that. I thought y'all liked dogs and tigers. Y'all was talking about animal rights. But y'all ain't dressing your kids up like Michael Vick, who scored many a touchdowns and killed a few animals. But Joe Exotic, who killed a bunch of tigers, that's another reason why he's there. You're like, oh, y'all set him up for this. All right, let's get rid of that charge right now. And he doesn't go home because he was shooting tigers in the head, burying them in his backyard illegally. He was doing this crazy shit. It seems like the same people that are praising him would fucking not be cool. I don't understand it, but the whites seem to be all about it. My wife even, she got her nails painted with Tiger King. I don't understand it. I would personally feel pretty gross just to rep such a thing, such a show, the thing. It's just all gross. It's got the woman who may have murdered her husband, but like, there's all kinds of stories of her like giving away his guns on the night that he disappeared, and like, oh, she would have never done that if she knew, unless she knew he wasn't coming back. All kinds of bullshit. Then there's like, the FBI saw this nigga alive. As I said when the first one came out, it's like, none of these people are admirable. It was just a documentary of just some of the shittiest people you've ever seen. Where I was like, all right. I was honestly like, what was the point of that? Y'all just wanted to show us, like, literally some of the shittiest people you've ever seen? And it was like, well, why did I care about that? Like, I thought it was going to end, well, not even. There's like the SeaWorld documentary, and it's not like they shut down all the SeaWorld and all those, like, exhibits. I don't think they didn't shut all that down, but I felt like you want those to end that way. That's how you wanted this to end. You wanted this to end with all of that shit shut down, with possibly the massive audience who saw it on Netflix protesting it. Protesting these fucking zoos. But no, this disgusting behavior is praised. I don't know. It's just something that the whites are very attracted to with this Joe Exotic person. And it's not just Joe Exotic. It's just the whole cast of just disgusting people. That there's a second season. And I watched it because I felt like I was kind of low on topics. This is actually the last topic here, ladies and gentlemen. And, I actually had more topics on here, but then I had technical difficulties with recording here that set me back about 30 minutes. I did that whole first half about the Michael Chiesa fight, and then there was like a 30-minute difference before the Misha Tate part because just an incident happened. So I cut back on some topics because your boy's got to work in the morning. But, yeah, I got to work in the morning. And it's just, it is what it is. And, you know, it's just weird to me. The obsession with this Tiger King. Because when I see it, it's like, I don't know, man. It's just nutty. It's just nutty. Because I don't understand how I see it this way. Like, I must be wrong. These people can't be disgusting. they can't be as fucking vile as I see them in this documentary. I'm wrong. I have to be wrong. Or people would not praise the shit. But yet they do. Or maybe I don't get it. Maybe the crimes that they're saying and all the fucking disgusting behavior that they're showing in this documentary is all just a lie or a joke that I just don't get. You know? Maybe it's just a joke that I just don't get. Maybe it's like the Trailer Park Boys. You know, throughout my life, I've had a lot of white friends, and they're like, "Oh, you should watch Trailer Park Boys." It's like I haven't seen it, and there's no reason to watch that show. And they're like, "What? It's so good," and it's like, "No, it's not. It's not. It's not good at all. Actually, it's really bad." And yeah, motherfuckers are just so into it, but maybe it's just too much of a difference in race. Did I mention how one nigga that I was working with at work, this older white guy was saying to this guy, there's no need to say anything else about who he was, but the younger guy, he's 22. Right, he's 22, and the older guy, shout out to Joe, he was like, "Oh man," he was like, "You and your friends like the girls who you have to still pick up from high school, right?" And this dude's like 21, 22, and the dude just like shrugged. It was like different cultures. Like, and I'm sitting there like, this, like, nigga, like, you disgusting ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there like, I don't need to talk to this nigga. No way. Weird ass nigga. Different cultures ass nigga. But that's how I feel when these niggas fucking just, I don't know, it's weird, man. It's weird. Like, fuck. Like, if I was walking down the street with fucking some jacket, spray paint, airbrush, R. Kelly shit on it, because I'm black and I'm just, nah, man, it's cool for me. I don't care about all these crazy shit you've seen, and you should be disgusted to have. It's like, people would be like, bro, how could you wear that? How could you wear that? And I'm like, what? I love R. Kelly. What? What are you talking about? I love R. Kelly. Just gonna wear this shirt. I'm gonna wear this jacket. I'm gonna sing down low everywhere I go. It's just weird. White people do the songs and dress their fucking children as this nigga who's been just shooting tigers in the head. Just shooting tigers in the head. And then you dress your kid as him and then take him to the zoo. You guys are psychopaths. It's weird. I guess it's just different cultures. It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Black people, start wearing your R. Kelly gear. We got the okay. Niggas, the white people is out here rapping fucking the sickest people you've ever fucking heard of. They're rapping the sickest people you've ever heard of. Black people, put on your R. Kelly gear. And you guys should follow this podcast. You guys should follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Babylon5Pod. You should follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You should email this podcast if you want to email this podcast for whatever reason, email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast, I believe. Yeah. On Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Sauce Boss. Oh, shit. I'm like, as I said, I was like, yo, there's like a 30-minute difference. I gotta work. I'm fucking tired. I'm just like reading through it. YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. If you guys are on Xbox, add me. My gamer tag is SauceBoss414. If you guys are on Twitch, add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and cop some merch at teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patron. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is episode 118. As I said, no innocence. And I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.